This
call.
conference will now be recorded.
As soon as I get this call started, get the call recording started. So one of the things that, no, not one, multiple things that we're going to go over today are all about let us, right? So myself, the people on this call, the other people that I deal with, have contact with, more and more and more and more, I have been thinking to myself that now is the time. Now is the time to put all the BS to the side, to actually start doing something bigger and better, right? And so one of the things that I was listening to a mentor say, and although this person is no longer alive, I still listen to their information, and so I consider them to be a mentor. And one of the things that this mentor of mine expresses in so many different ways is that, most people don't know what the hell they want to do. We all talk about, including me, we all talk about, hey, I want to make more money. I want to do X, Y, or Z, whatever it is in your existence. But we don't have any direction of plan. We don't have any, we don't write it down. We don't write down what our direction is going to be. We don't have a plan of action, right? And as we know, if you don't have a plan of action, then you don't have squat. If you don't have a direction, and a direction is not saying I want more money, or I want a happy life, or I want this, I don't know, a new Mercedes, whatever model it is, or a BMW 750i series, or whatever it is. We have these pictures, or these thoughts in our head of what we want, but we don't have a direction to get there. We don't have a plan of action. And so this call today is going to be in great part about us, you and me, developing a new plan of action for ourselves, and then subsequently sticking with it. So, all of my life, I've had bouts with being chubby. I like to use the word chubby instead of fat. And only because I'm on this call, normally I'd say fat ass. But, I'm trying to be a little bit more nice about it when I'm talking about myself. But in the only times that I've ever, had success or did better in my fight to lose weight, if you will, is when I've had a plan of action, right? And then subsequently stuck with that plan of action. And the way that it was always easiest for me to stick with that plan of action, if it was simple, number one, and number two, I did it in small steps. And it's the reason that is so important is because if we're talking about building, most of the people on this call we're talking about building financial freedom, stability, what have you. And so the deal is that in order to accomplish that, in order to build, financial stability and freedom and all that, is that if we don't write down a plan of action, figure out that plan of action, decide what direction we're going into, all that crap, then basically it's just a dream. It's just a pipe dream. It's really just a thought that in your heart's not going to come to fruition. And so what I want to do is, two things, several things, but two primary things. And that is for us, right? For my folks, meaning you all, for us to kind of come together and work on a game plan, right? So it doesn't have to be literally together, meaning that you're going to call me up and go, hey, Pascal, well, this is my plan of action, and this is what I'm going to do. But periodically, everybody has my email address, which is just Pascal at VanguardGlobalLLC.com. And so, um, I have zero qualms with you all emailing me or even calling me if you have questions, 951-515-4728, and hashing out a direction for yourself, right? Because one of the things about being an entrepreneurial minded person is that it's freaking difficult in the sense that when you are by yourself, when you are out there trying to make things happen, and it can be a bit much, it can be truly a bit much when you're on your own, when you're out there, trying to figure it out, trying to grind it out, trying to make things happen. And so I don't mind, getting the phone call and just, spending a few minutes chopping it up over a direction, because quite honestly, helping you figure it out is going to help me figure me out. And I don't know if you all know this, but one of the greatest avenues of learning something is by teaching it, right? Because there's something that occurs in your mind when you take on the mantle of a teacher, and you're saying, well, you know what, I really want to learn this crap, but I just don't have time. Well, start teaching it and talking about it to other people, and somehow or another, it forces you into creating time for to learn it. And I can tell you this, and I know this beyond a shadow of a doubt, because a lot of the businesses that I have been in, I didn't know anything about the businesses. I literally did not know anything about the businesses, other than they struck me as something that I could do and something that I can make money at, right? So from that standpoint, I would get in the business, and then I would have other people working with me, and I would find myself in a position of having to grow and learn more than them so I can instruct them. So like back in the day, when I had my paging and cellular store, didn't know squat, right? But I would try to glean as much information as I could from other folks. And then when I started trying to go out and place my stuff in other people's established stores, like back in the day, in the record stores, I had a bunch of people I knew that owned record stores. So I'd have to sell them on the idea of letting me place my pagers and subsequently cellular phones in their store, so I could create separate marketplaces for myself, right? And so I had to learn what the hell I was talking about to be able to subsequently sell it. And so I had to become somewhat of a teacher, right? So that's what's important. We have to know what direction we're going into, and sometimes, you have to place yourself in a position where you are forced to learn whatever the hell it is that you're talking about you want to do. And so that's just one example of an avenue that you can, go down. If you have a business, it doesn't matter what that business is, and you want to be able to know that business decent enough to explain it to the next person. And in order to learn it, you want to position yourself so that you are constantly having to explain it to the next person. And it sounds a little silly, or maybe a little, I don't know, but I'm just telling you, it works. And so let me get back to the main point of this. Ideally, right? Ideally, you are going to, just like I am going to have to become a little bit more conscious of exactly what do we want, right? So it doesn't work well enough saying, I want a new car. What is the plan of action? And once again, I was listening to this mentor, and he was talking about 75% of the people, if you ask them the direct question of what is it that you want, because people complain, including myself, but if somebody were to literally say to you, well, what the hell do you want? What is it that you want? and they go with some general thing about, my car's crappy, I just want a new car. Well, dude, that's not going to cut it, right? It just does not. It's not going to cut it. If you said more specifically, my car's crappy, and I want a new car, and so I know I'm going to have to work overtime to get it, or I'm going to have to, then now that makes sense, right? What do you have a game plan? Because everything is about thought first and then creation second, and that's the only way things work in this environment. Thought first, creation second. Because if you having the thoughts is wonderful, but if you don't create something from that thought, a plan of action, and then subsequently the do of a thing, it just absolutely means nothing. So together, we, are going to start creating some stuff and have not just an idea of what we want, but we're going to start putting together a definite plan of action, right? A definite direction that we're going to move into, which allows us to get what we actually want. And once again, we can do this together. I'm not going to spend a crap load of time on the phone with you. I'm just telling you that up front. But if you need to chop it up, once again, I don't mind that, because it does help me grow as well. But I'm more than willing to give you 5 or 10 minutes here and there, for free, just so we can chop it up and help you move forward in whatever direction or goal that you have. And I also will need that, because I had dinner with a couple of friends of mine, Franco and Magalise. We had dinner last night, and part of that, the end of the conversation, or the end of the evening, we were talking about basically the importance of just like doing stuff, just moving forward, just even if it's inch by inch, but actually doing stuff towards what you're talking about, because it makes all the difference in the world. And so the other side of what we're going to talk about today is when we're going to do stuff, let's jettison the small stuff, right? I mean, sometimes you got to start there. But in my existence right now, what I am starting to push towards is doing the bigger things, right? Because you make more money, and with less BS and less time invested. And well, let me say this. Let me back that up a little bit. It's the same amount of time, but you get greater reward. And I can't stress this enough. I just when I think about through my existence the times when I'm charging very little, I got to work my ass off for that little. It's like the client base that you deal with when you're charging nickels and dimes, they want the world from you, and that's cool, but it's not cool for me. But when you're dealing with clients that are that you're collecting more money from, I'm telling you, more money, less problems, right? So the clients that you're working with, or that you are going to start working with, the things that you're going to start selling, or whatever the case may be, you just never want to be at the bottom of the totem pole. You never want to be that person. I don't care what it is that you're selling, that is selling at the lowest end, because you are going to have the greatest headache. And I'm not saying that you have to be at the top end either, right? Because then it's you have far less buyers at the top end, and then you have to really have staged yourself in your business, to have a certain look. But somewhere in the upper middle is where you want to position yourself, right? And it's very important to understand that somewhere in the upper middle, because I'm just telling you, and I can't stress this enough, dealing with people that are giving you their last is a headache. dealing with people that are trying to use something just to get over, or just a quick hustle for them. You might say, "Oh, I can teach you how to get a bunch of credit or something of that nature." And if you're dealing with a person who they're just trying to hustle and get over and get the money and run off, that type of thing, that's a person that you want to jettison. You don't want to deal with them, because ultimately, if their plan doesn't work out, they're going to come back to you with nothing but headache. Or if they just just the mentality, the overall mentality, basically, is just not somebody you want to deal with because they're a headache. But when you go up a few notches, if you will, and you deal with somebody that when they give you the money, it's not their last. They're not trying to hustle. They're trying to do some legitimate things. And it doesn't matter what it is that you're selling. I mean, if you're trying to sell makeup wholesale or whatever, sell. Maybe not the somewhere the cheapest for sure, and maybe not the highest, but somewhere in the upper middle. And I always want to say in the upper middle, because in the middle you still somewhat deal with individuals that are somewhat giving you their last. You want to deal with people that have an understanding, right? That I'm putting this money out there, and when I put this money out there, whatever happens, and they're hoping for the best, though, right? And that's who I'm trying to deal with. So I'm trying to slowly but surely jettison all of the short-term thinkers, if you will. All of the people that are giving their last to me, like in the CPN arena. I'm trying to actually get away from retail clients and just deal with wholesale clients. It's a better look for me. And then in addition to that, I'm pushing towards just doing higher end things like my coaching programs, where I help people build business credit. Because quite honestly, those people that are paying me, $5,000 and more, I don't even hear from them. I mean, it's just the craziest thing in the world. But it's always been that way. It's always been that way. Back in the day, when I personally used to do a fair amount of credit repair, I used to charge, thousands of dollars. I would literally charge people between $2,000 and $3,000 a pop, period. And either you wanted my service or you didn't. And what I found was I would have to call and hunt those people down that gave me their hard-earned money to get the mail that they were getting from the various credit bureaus, right? I'd have to literally, hey, did you get anything in the mail? Oh yeah, I got something in the mail. Reply would be, yeah, I got something in the mail. I just been busy, man. I just haven't had a chance to get it out to you. I will. And then you'd have to call them a week later. Hey, you told me you got some stuff in the mail. Can you please send it to me so I can work on your project, right? And then that kind of slowed up a touch, right? And when that slowed up, I ventured out into dealing with people for like $500 a pop, and because quite honestly, the work is the same, and that's something you also have to understand. Whether you're dealing with somebody for $500 or $5,000, the work is the same. So you might as well, put your effort, your energy, your time into going after the $5,000 people. Even if you have to, set it up so they can make payments to you, it's a better look. I started dealing with people that, just really, they were giving me their last, and they would literally call me up. They'd say, here, Pascal, here's $500. And then the next day they would call me up and say, what have you done? And it was just like, are you kidding me? It was like, are you on crack? You know what I mean? So what's up with you? You just gave me the money yesterday, but you're bugging me today? And it's just, and it's been that experience for me. I would say, a lot of the businesses that I've done, right? And a lot of the things that I've done, people that, that you deal with, and they're giving you their last, they're a headache. A lot of good human beings, right? I mean, but some of them are just, because they're giving you their last, and because they don't really understand what's going on, they will bug the crap out of you, right? And that's not a good look. And so I know it sounds like I might be rambling a little bit, but I promise you all this is going to tie together, right? Because all of this has to do with you overall, and including myself. All of this has to do with you and I should say, and finding what we want, right? Writing out a game plan, a step-by-step something where it's incremental steps, tiny little steps, writing it out and revisiting it daily. Hugely important. Hugely important. And I don't do that like I'm supposed to. I'll write some stuff down, I'll do it for a day or two, maybe a week, and then I'll stop, right? But what I will tell you is that when I write down my game plan and then subsequently break it down into these large steps, maybe 12 steps, let's call it, like so 12 months in the year, 12 steps, and then out of that 12 steps, let's say step one, I'll break things down into maybe, what I need to do every day or every other day. And if it's every day, it's usually something really, really tiny towards the goal. So as some of you know, I started a new project with my son, and it's called 60 Second Stand Up. And basically, with this new project, 60 Second Stand Up, where we're giving away $500 a month to anybody that submits, not to any, but let me clarify. We're giving away $500 a month, and to the funniest video that we submit, that somebody submits. And we're doing this for a twofold, threefold reasoning. A is that I want to build a platform outside of what I do now, right? So a business, if you will, outside of what I do now. And in order to do that, I need content. And the best way to get content to me is to have other people giving you their content, right? And if my game plan works out right, that $500 I'm giving away a month will be minuscule in the amounts of money that I will be able to generate from all of these people, I believe to be thousands of people eventually submitting their funny videos, because people love to be entertained, and proof of that is if you go on YouTube, if you go on Instagram or whatever, some of the people that have some of the largest followings are in entertainment, right? I mean, they're singers, dancers, comedians, musicians or whatever. And so why not me, which I don't have that talent? Why not utilize their talent and subsequently pay a winner once a month $500 in order to build a platform for myself, right? For myself and my son, that we can subsequently make money off of. Because I'm a YouTube partner, which is something that anybody can do. And, plus I will be able to, once we have enough following, I'll be able to sell advertising space within my own channel. And so there's a lot of different things, and then eventually even sell the channel once it gets to a certain point. And so my point is that, even with that, it's about thinking larger instead of dealing with a smaller thing, and that's what I want you guys to start doing, and including, like I keep on saying, including myself. Everything I'm saying to you, I'm literally saying it to myself as well, that I need to do. And so in order for us to do these bigger things, we need to do the first things that I've mentioned. right? So I told you it's going to come back in a loop, right? It's coming back around. Just so you know, I was talking about dealing with people and not dealing with selling yourself so short or selling your services short. We want to sell our services or whatever we're offering, you know, in you know, not the middle, but in the upper middle, right? And we want to expand on that, not try to expand in the bottom, because there's no money. You're gonna spin your wheels on a bunch of nothing, and at the end of the day, you're gonna not be very much further than what you are. So we want to start in the middle, somewhere in the middle. And just like this new project with my son, we're starting in the middle. We have to give something of value in order for people to choose to give us their funny 60-second stand-up videos. I know, because that this might sound like it's all links together, you guys. You know, and so even in our going out and building credit and whatnot, you know, the business stuff, you know, which I'm going to touch on in a moment. You know, even that, I want you guys to start doing it in a more expansive way. But I wanted to try to get this point over to you first, that don't just, you know, say I want X, Y, or Z. What are the action steps that you're going to take to create X, Y, or Z? The new car, more money, a new house, whatever it is. What are the action steps that you're going to take, right? Because other than that, it's just a pipe dream. So I want X. What are you going to do to get X? We're going to have to start writing that down, you and I. Okay? We have to review what we've written down every single day, if not 2 or 3 times a day. Okay? Hugely important. Then we're going to take X and we're going to break it down. Whatever it is that we say that we want to go after, we're going to break it down to something that we can do within anywhere between 10 minutes and an hour a day. Okay? We're going to start eating away at this new project, this thing we're doing, even if it's an old business. So let's go back. First, write it down. Okay, you have the thought, you have the desire. Let's write it down. Let's start chunking away at it, right? Inch by inch, piece by piece. 2, whatever it is that you are choosing to do, do not go after the lowest end of it. Do not go after the highest end of it. Start in the upper middle. Okay, so are we clear with that? Very important, right? We have to take this thought process and turn it into an action. Make it into something we're creating, we're doing. Even if we can only afford to spend 10 minutes to an hour a day, that's what we need to do. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever business it is, if you're trying to be a tax professional, if you're going to be a person that's doing modeling, you want a modeling business, you want to do, I don't give a crap what it is. Do not start at the bottom. There's plenty of people already there. There's plenty of people selling at the bottom. There's plenty of people that are working at the bottom. There's plenty of people that are living at the bottom, and there's no reason for you to join them, right? There's no reason. Let's say if you have, you are I don't care. Let's call it, you want to be a spokesperson. You don't have to start going out and doing stuff for free. All what you need to do, in my opinion, is go out and start doing what I'm doing with you on the phone right now, which is presenting yourself to people. You know, there are 1,001 social platforms out there. Everybody knows the big boys: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and just start putting yourself out there daily, right? If that's what you want to do, which is probably a very good thing to do, and posting yourself here and there. And so then when people do start to ask you to come out and talk to them, charge them, right? The only free thing you should be doing is your promotion for you, period. Your promotion for you is the only free thing that you should be doing if you want to be a spokesperson. If you want to be a model, the only free thing that you should be doing is your promotion for you, period. Right? People want you to come out and model for free. Oh, it'll get you exposure. Screw that. The exposure that you should get should be on your own platforms. That's because first of all, when you were out there on your own platforms, you're creating your own energy, your own vibe, your own everything, and it makes people desirous of you anyway, right? And so therefore, you should command a price, because if you're willing to go out and work for free, then you really don't mean that much. Does that make sense? You're just another one of the people at the bottom, right? So we have to start. What I know, once again, I want to make sure we're on the same page. All of this lines up. All of this goes together. I don't want you to think of it as, well, damn it. Okay, well, what's he jumping to? This, and the other. But there's key points in these things here. You have to really pay attention to what I'm telling you. Everything that I've said in the beginning had to do with one primary key point. If you have a thought that I want to create a business, what are the steps to creating that business? What are the very small steps that you can chunk down that, your goal, right? So you want to start a successful business doing whatever it is. Well, what are your steps going to be? Is it going to be getting a phone line for the business, number one? Is it going to be, whatever you think your steps need to be? Is it going to be getting, doing like for this, what my son and I did is we went to Fiverr and we had the banners made for all of the social media sites, because the banners for each site is different sizes, so it's easy enough to just go to Fiverr, and the people do that kind of crap all day, every day. And I paid a guy $35 plus the $2 Fiverr fee, and he created, a really awesome banner, I believe, for 60secondstandup.com and 60 Second Standup, and pre-sized it for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Google Plus, because they require different sizes. So it is for $37. I just had somebody do that for us, so that was a step, right? And the next thing, I knew I had those things coming, and so my next step was to create all the social media. Actually, we did that in reverse. Because I wanted to make sure we can get the name across all the social media. So the first thing we did is we just took an evening, right? Not maybe 40 minutes or something like that. Let's call it an hour. Logged into Instagram, created an account for 60 Second Stand Up, did the same thing with YouTube, did the same thing for Twitter, did the same thing with Facebook, and the same thing with, I think, Pinterest, whatever, a couple other places. But the point being is that it was just one step. We did that in the evening, right? Because I had other things to do. My son has other things to do. My wife has other things to do. So we just, that one step and called it a day. And the next thing is, I went on Fiverr, paid this guy. He looked like he did good work. I paid him. Boom. It took him, I think it was three days to deliver. So as soon as he delivered, then the next step was to log on to each one of the social media that we created, and then populate the new banners with 60 Second Stand Up emblazoned on them, and with the little, it's just really cute. If you guys get a chance, go to YouTube or wherever, Instagram, and just look up 60 Second Stand Up. But my point is it's we're doing this incrementally. And that's the easiest way if you're, if you're working or you got other things going on, to do this. But I'm telling you, were reaching out already. So I sent out one email, mind you. I sent out one email, and in that one email, I was able to create or get a person to join us, to participate in our program, in our 60-second stand-up program, and he will be the first person to win some money from us, and which is all good, right? So his name is I always mispronounce it, Minuan. His name is Minuan, and Minuan is Minuan Hart is his name. He is a record. I'm sorry. What does he do? He's a producer. He's a stand-up comic. He's I guess he's an actor. He does a lot of things. So I'm going to be sending out a cashier's check to him for $500 today, tomorrow, as soon as I get his mailing address, and we're going to go from there. But it's incremental, right? So that's what I want you guys to really get from this. Now, we're going to move on to the next phase of this conversation, because just starting your business, obviously, and doing it, having the thought process, and then separately creating the steps that you're going to follow, hugely important. Well, you need money for that. You need capital for that. And so one of the things that I've mentioned multiple times that for some reason people don't get it is you don't have to be that person with the money, right? And I'm not saying that you have to, so this is part two of the conversation, y'all. So I'm not telling you that you, right, have to have the perfect credit, that you have to have capital in your bank account, but I am going to tell you that you will have to be a salesperson about whatever it is you're offering to folks. Catch what I'm telling y'all. You are going to have to be a salesperson about whatever your ultimate game plan is, right? So if you want to be a spokesperson, you think you're going to make a ton of money in that, and you need money to get your social media locking, get your this going on, your that, whatever it is that you need, you don't have to have all the money necessary. If you want to start a pig farm, you don't have to have the money for all that, right? But you are going to have to learn to be a salesperson. Somebody put yourself on mute. All right, whoever that was. So bottom line is that, you have the ability right here, right now, to go out and create as much capital as you want. And I'm going to tell you, it's the easiest thing in the world. If you have a good idea, what I'm going to suggest that you do is you are going to find people, friends or family, that have good down to decent credit, right? 680 at the lowest, because there's plenty of people that have a 680 FICO score, 700 FICO score. They just don't have any money. They're broke, but they do pay their bills on time. And so what I'm going to suggest to you is that, and I was talking to a client just the other day about this, because she has a couple of people, a cousin and a sister. If you have people that have good credit, no money, you can literally set up a corp, an LLC, whichever you prefer. I prefer corporations. And you can literally take this business entity, get this person that has good credit but no money, and start applying for business line of credit cards. Boop. Just that simple, right? You start applying for the business line of credit cards, and once again, other than Capital One, always remember this, other than Capital One, business line of credit cards, as a rule, do not report to your personal credit file.
Okay. She gets it in the office.
I'm sorry? I couldn't hear what you said. Okay. So remember that. Other than Capital One, because the Capital One Spark for Business, they report to your personal. But so let's just say if you had a cousin, uncle, brother, mother, sister, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and they have a good credit file, all you're going to simply do is set up a legal business entity, meaning an LLC or a corporation. You're going to use their credit, and then you are subsequently going to go and start applying for business line of credit cards. It's easy enough to find those. You can just Google it, and you will get a plethora of cards that show up. And, without going into too much detail, because I save that for our paying clients, if you will, you're going to have to bolster your income a bit. Once again, I've explained this before. It's called future casting. Just because let's say if this were January 1, very important, right? If this were January 1, and you were to fill out a credit card application, and you put on that application, let's say hypothetically you make $50,000 a year, and you put that on the credit card application. And the thing is, you were future casting at that point, because if this is January 1, you don't know that you're going to make that $60,000, because the truth is, you don't even have, it's January 1. Let's just look at it like that. It's January 1. You might not have a job in a month, which means that you're not going to make that $50,000, because you don't have that job. The fact that you're even putting that job down is just a guess, right? It's just a guess that you're going to have that job. So if we're future casting anyway, if we're just, guessing on what's going to occur in the future, guessing that we're going to make that $50,000 for the year, guessing that we're going to, have that job in a year, then why don't we guess a little bit higher? Instead of saying $50,000, why don't we put down, $80,000, $90,000, whatever it is that you're comfortable with? Because the thing is, credit cards, as a rule of thumb, are stated income, right? So what you state on that application, as long as the credit looks good, they're going to say okay, right? I mean, not always, obviously, but stated income, it's magic. It's beautiful. We want that. Right, so I worked on two loans here recently. Pain in the ass for $20,000 a piece. Where a credit card, you fill out the application, they go yay or nay. Loans, two little $20,000 loans. I mean, they're like, we want the size of your drawers. We want your mama's, just craziness, right? And it's just like, well, damn, I could have got two $20,000 credit cards, filled out a little application online, boom, 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 and been done. But loans are a different look. I'm just telling you. But with the credit cards, though, man, it is like for real the best thing. And business lines of credit cards, I'm telling y'all, start finding your folks now, right? Let's start looking at the bigger picture, and let's start finding our folks now. Let's start talking to people, seeing where they're at, seeing what their objectives are, seeing what they want to do, and maybe they can help you help them, right? Because most people are not entrepreneurial, right? Most people, their vision is, it's not a bad thing, but most people, they are what we talked about in the very beginning. So they have these dreams, but they don't have enough motivation to go out and pull these dreams into reality or create the pathway to make these dreams come to fruition. And so since that is a fact, you can find plenty of people that have decent credit, decent credit, right? And turn that credit into something nice, right? Do something that's going to work for them. The only thing that I'm going to say to you is that, you will have to be a good steward or help them be a good steward of their money, right? It's very important because you don't want to. Somebody asked me, do I have a list of recommended business? And the answer to that is yes, but only for our client base. So, but I'm telling you, do some research, do some due diligence of your own. I mean, just go to Google and literally type in the words business credit cards. And, creditcards.com will probably be the first place that populates. And you can just look through creditcards.com and just, try, right? But see, I want you guys to understand something, because there are plenty of communities that do exactly what I'm telling you. They will team up and buy a liquor store, buy a 7-Eleven, buy I don't know, pick something. Excuse me. So you'll have people that will go, well, he has some credit, no money, everybody's broke as hell, but they have credit, right? And they're like busting their butts, working hard, paying their bills. And so somebody who's a little bit more entrepreneurial than the rest will say, well, hey, we can do X, we can do Y, and we can do Z, and they will literally get together with their folks, and everybody will pitch in their credit and buy a business, right? I mean, it's just makes sense. It's like it's just so simple. It's criminal. You do not have to have the credit. You do not have to have jack, right? But a game plan, but a workable game plan. Does that make sense to you guys? A workable game plan is what you need. And then you have to, be somewhat of a salesperson, meaning that you are going to have to go out and start pitching this plan of action that you've created that will create a business that will have success. And the thing about it is that if you raise enough money and you literally put all your ducks in a row, it would be very difficult to fail unless you're just screwing off the money, right? Because I can tell you, like, even from my own existence, when I have had great success and then subsequently great failure, it literally was my fault. It was literally my fault, right? So back in the day when I had 9 pieces of property, you know why I screwed up? Because I didn't have a game plan. I was flying by the seat of my pants. I was like, I used to say this really retarded ass stuff. I used to tell people, like all my friends were buying property, so I started buying property when I bought property down south. And the reason I would do it is I would tell my friends, I would say, man, please, your mortgage is X, Y, and Z, and my mortgages that I had on my property, I was like, man, if I had to, I can go work at McDonald's or In-N-Out and make my mortgage payments. But here's the problem with that. My butt wasn't going to go work at McDonald's or In-N-Out. I mean, don't get it twisted. I would if I had to, right? If I absolutely had to, but that would be to support my family, not to support some property back east that somebody else is living in, right? So, I didn't have a game plan, and then what I would do is I would buy these properties, fix them up, pull all the money out of them, yada, 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 yada. But, because I didn't have a game plan, that money just went. I mean, I did like 70 grand, I'd like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to, just stupid stuff, right? And what I should have been doing, if I had a game plan, if I were watching people that were successful doing the same thing that I was doing, very key, watching people that are successful, right? And mimicking them. Hey, you got to get that one. Watching people that are successful and mimicking them, hugely important. And so there was this family that was down south, and they started buying, at the on the courthouse steps, just little raggedy pieces of property. And then by the time the realtor I was dealing with them, and this family literally had a couple hundred homes, right? So they would buy them, some of them they would fix up and sell, and a lot of them they would just keep and just have rental income for their family. I mean, just like, and they're bananas, but they were taking their money and they were reinvesting it. So out of the 9 properties that I had, if I had just pulled money like I was doing out of those, like I'd fix them and what have you, that if I had taken the monies that came out and went and just started paying off the better properties, right? So, as I'm buying, I should have been taking that money and that I was pulling out after rehabbing and paying off the better properties. So to this day, if my calculation is even half-assed right, I probably would have had maybe 3 properties, if I was lucky, 4 properties that would have still been generating me income to this very day, and they would have been paid off except for the taxes that I would have had to pay, because that's how much money I was pulling out of properties, right? And we get back to what I'm trying to get across to you guys. You got to have a game plan, and you have to look at that game plan every day. You cannot fly by the seat of your pants, right? And especially if you're going to do what I'm telling you, and you're going to become a salesperson, and you're going to think about this dream, this goal, this objective that you have, and you're going to take this dream, goal, and objective that you have, and you're going to bring it to fruition. You're going to bring it to life, even if you don't have a dime in your pocket, by going out and involving other people in this larger than life dream, right? And once again, we're going to not start at the bottom. I don't give a crap what it is that you're doing. We're not going to start at the bottom. We're going to start somewhere in the upper middle. I don't give a crap what the business is, what the service is. We're going to start somewhere in the upper middle, because we do not want to deal with people that are giving away giving you their last to perform a service or for you to sell them something, right? And so we're gonna know that from the beginning, and then we're gonna create our business, our service, or whatever the hell it is. We're gonna create that around, right, that middle and upper middle thought process, right? We're gonna create that, and then we're gonna go out and start selling that idea to our friends and family, right? And then we know that when we sell this idea, we're gonna have a game plan to help them be a good steward of the credit that they're going to be creating to invest in that business. Does everybody catch what I'm saying? I know it's a lot, and I understand that. And if you have questions, please ask, and I'll try to clarify. Because I don't write none of this crap down. It's just off the top of the dome, so to speak. It's in my head, and so therefore I just put it out there. Maybe I should write it down. My friend Denise says that I should write it down, but that's not me. So I just try to tell you guys what's in my head, what's in my heart and mind, and what I think will legitimately help you elevate you and help me elevate myself, right? And so it's got to be starting at the very beginning of our conversation. The things that I mentioned then, got to be right. And then secondly, once you have that down, once you have, I want to do this, and this is, and not just say, I want the new car, but have your game plan for getting that new car. What are the steps that you need to take to get that new car? What are the steps you need to take? And then once you have those steps, how can you chunk those steps down to make it an easier flow for you to make it happen, right? So you might say, this is step 1. But step 1 even might need to be divided into small pieces to make it occur. You know what I'm saying? So, step 1 might be, oh, well, I know I need more money. Well, okay, well, what the hell are you going to do to get more money to get that new car? right? So are you going to start Ubering at night? See, because that's a part of it. And then once you start Ubering, okay, you got to say, well, shit, if I'm Ubering, excuse me, I cuss a lot, you guys, but you already know that. But if you're going to start Ubering, then you have to say, okay, well, my cost factor is this on the Uber, but I'm definitely going to take 25% of everything that I bring in. I'm throwing it into this account over here that I set up specifically that's branded my new car. You know what I mean? If it's your business, same difference. You might want to start a whatever business, or you might want to build the business that you already have, and you're still going to have to come up with, what are my steps? What are the directions that I'm going in? Because anything other than that is just a pipe dream. Anything other than that is just a thought in your head, and it doesn't mean squat, right? None of this, including what I do, is worth anything, and I don't even do as well as I can do in the businesses that I have, and I know I can tell you exactly why. And then the reason is because I myself don't necessarily do all the things. Now, I do some of them, but I could have so much more success when I start doing more of what I'm telling you guys. And the reason I'm even telling you guys this is because, I've been going through a lot of contemplation, and I'm at a point in my existence where I want so much more than what I have. And quite honestly, I want to position myself so that in 5 years from now, I don't have to do none of this crap. But I'm not going to be able to get there if I don't have a game plan, if I don't have a pathway, right? I will not be able to get to where I'm trying to get to if I don't have these things. And I know that to be a fact. And so that's why I'm telling you all this stuff. I know that every time in my existence when I have done, something would come over me and I would just have this intense desire to accomplish something or move in a certain direction, then I would become just so focused, like crazy focused. And then I would start chunking down whatever it is that I was trying to get to because I wanted to get to that end path, right? And what's ironic is most of those times in my existence, it happened when I was, broke, right? Because you have to become laser focused if you're broke and you want to get out of where you're at, out of a bad scenario. And so, it's going to have to be for you all, just like for me. I don't know what really, but maybe, acting like your life depends on it. I don't know what's going to trigger that momentous movement for you. For me, it's just going to have to be, I don't want to be where I'm at right now in 5 years. I don't want to be doing anything other than what I choose to be doing in 5 years, right? And so let's recap, because this call is just about over. Number one, very, very important. Create a game plan. Stop just saying this is what I want to do, X, Y, or Z. What is the course and path that you're going to create? What are the steps? What are you going to create to make that happen? And then chunk that down to make it really work for you. In other words, just get rid of the dream and make it become a reality. Turn it into a reality, right? I don't care what the business is, what the direction is, but turn it into a reality. And the other side of this is getting the monies to make it happen. Once again, you can be broke as no joke, but if you turn yourself into a salesman of your idea, so in other words, your idea, the weak points as well as the strong points, right? You've done the due diligence, you've done the research. Now you can go out and sell your idea to other people. And even if they don't have a dime in their pocket, you will be able to sell them on utilizing their credit. We used to, in the real estate game back in the day, they call it a straw buyer. So in a sense, that's what it is. They're going to be your straw buyer, right? Meaning that their credit is going to be what's utilized to get, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 worth of credit cards in the door, specifically geared towards building that business. And what I'm going to tell you is, if you find one, you need to find two. If you find two, you need to find three. If you find three, you need to find four, and so on and so on. You need to go out and you need to have enough faith in what you're doing, right? And enough understanding of the ins, the outs, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it, so that you can sell this idea to individuals that have credit. I don't care if they don't have any money, that have credit, so that you can then subsequently get them to place them on your corporation or your LLC, whichever, that you create, and then subsequently have them go after business lines of credit cards, keeping in mind that Capital One, right, will report to the personal credit, but the other ones that they're applying for will not, as a rule of thumb. And when they give that person that credit card, let's say they end up getting a $5,000 credit card or a $20,000 credit card, you will want to take at least, and this is my opinion, 80% off of that card. Once you take the 80% off of that credit card, then you're going to take 6 months to a year of that 80% that you pulled off the credit card, 6 months to a year's worth of payments, preferably a year's worth of payments. You're going to shove it into one of your business bank accounts, because you're going to have multiple business accounts, right? You're going to shove that money into one of the business bank accounts and allow payments to be made off of that account. Okay? So that way your payment history stays solid. Then you're going to take the balance of that money and you're going to put it in another account. That money will be utilized to build the business. Does that make sense? We want to keep everything separate. Money in one account for payments only. Every card you get, you need to place the money, take 80% off that card, place the money into a checking account just specifically designed to allow payments to be drawn off of it. Set up automatic payments. That way it's not a thought. You've put 6 to 12 months, preferably 12 months worth of payments in there. The rest of that money goes into another account, which is specifically designed to utilize for the business only, to develop your business. That is how this needs to go down. So we want to expand and broaden every damn thing that we're doing. And the only way that you can really truly do that is by putting together, by marrying the two things that we've talked about today. One being you're taking your already established business or your new business dream, goal, or idea, and honing it down to what's necessary for it to grow, what's necessary for it to come to existence or come into existence, right? So that's number one. That's the first side of that. And you got to have that together before you go out and start, trying to get people to be straw buyers, to utilize their credit on the behalf of your business. You got to have your stuff tight and right before you go out and start saying, hey, John, Chelsea or whomever, I got this brilliant idea and here's exactly how it'll work. So if you want, I know you don't have any money, but you can still get into this with me because I know you have good credit. And then go out, walk them through the process of getting business lines of credit cards. I would stay away from loans because, once again, any type of loans require more documentation and so on and so forth. And we just want to stay away from that. Credit cards in general are stated income. Business credit cards are stated income as well. So that's what we want to really go after in a really strong way. The other thing, the last thing I'm going to mention is you don't want to give away the farm. You don't want to, just because someone's going to come on board with you, you need to stay in control, right? So you need to always be 51%. And quite honestly, you also want to be position yourself so that no matter what happens, you have room to go out and get other people to invest in your business, or your idea, right? And so you don't want to, just because I don't give a crap what their credit looks like, you don't want to give someone the type of position where, well, you have 49% of your business. Well, that's stupid because, well, I'm not going to call it stupid, but you're limiting yourself when you do that. And you want to keep yourself so that, I don't know what percentage you're going to give them, okay? But it should greatly depend upon how much money they're going to manifest for your business, quite honestly. If your goal is $500,000 and, that you want to raise, and this one person's able to raise, $100,000 of that, so then, you're going to give them, whatever percentage that would be, because I don't want to do the math right now, whatever percentage of that would be of that 500,000 worth of business, worth of your business, right? So you have 51% always, and then you will subsequently take the other 49% and divide it up, how much of your business you're going to give away, utilizing that balance of 49% as your goal, as your thing, all right? That's what you're going to do. And we're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep this very, very simple, so it makes the most sense. So unless somebody has a question of some sort, this conference is done data. So listen, you guys, I'm really, really, really hoping that you guys are gathering something of use out of this. Because if not, I can do other things with my morning. So I'm really hoping that you guys are. And so if anyone would be so kind as to put something in the chat just so I can make sure you guys are still hearing me before we get off this call, so I just didn't waste my breath. All right. Thank you very much. So that's it. Any questions? We're 10:09 right now, so I'm about to get off the call. But if there's any questions, you can either ask the question or put it in the chat. Okay. Since there are no questions, which is really sad to me, we will get off this call. Thank you guys very much. Wait, I'm sorry. Just when I said that, somebody, I believe, is asking a question. Hold on one second, please. Okay, somebody was asking about the call. So what I've been doing, what I did over the weekend is, I'm not going to just send out the individual calls anymore. You can just go to YouTube and do Power Monday Mastermind. I'll probably email out the link for the YouTube page, right? For the YouTube channel for Power Monday Masterminds, and that way all the videos will be right there, and they're all dated, so you guys will be able to listen to them as you so desire. And you're quite welcome. I see, no problem. Thank you. So it's all good. I want to thank you guys, as always, for joining, and I'm really, really hoping that I'm imparting value to you all. And more importantly, I'm really hoping that, as a team, because you guys are my team, that that we take action. And if you guys like, call me up every blue moon, you know what I mean? And let me know what you're doing and what you need help with. And I don't, I can't make you any promises, but, I'm pretty giving with my time and information. So let's see what occurs. All right. Thank you guys so very much. And I'm really, really appreciating you guys coming on the call. I know you probably have a lot better things to do. So thank you so much. Take care.